everyone, and welcome to our second fireside chat, how everyday businesses can leverage social media to grow and brand their business. My name is Mary. I handle social media here at Grasshopper, the Entrepreneur's Phone System, and I'll be your host today. So why are we talking about social media? Well, for small businesses, it's where your customers are. It doesn't matter what kind of business you have, whether you're an accounting firm or a florist, social media can definitely help you grow your business and your brand. And today we have 4 awesome panelists that will provide you with some solid takeaways to help you grow your business. So for our panelists today, we have Lauren Hogan, Digital Manager at Home Advisor. We have Farvad Sharoka, Co-founder and CEO at BloomNation.com. Queenie, CEO at My Corporation Business Services, and Brittany Berger, Digital Content Supervisor at eZanga.com. So if you'd like more information about our panelists, their bios are located at the bottom of this page. I would like to encourage you to ask questions. We will be reserving 15 minutes at the end of our chat for questions. You can submit questions to us via Twitter by tweeting us at Grasshopper using the hashtag FRSDchat, or we have a handy chat box that's right below this video on the page that you can submit your questions as well. Of course, we couldn't have this chat without our awesome sponsors. If you'd like more information about them, all of their logos are also listed at the bottom of this page. And please take a minute at the end of this fireside chat to take our survey. If you take this survey, you'll be entered to win one of 3 social media brainstorming sessions, which are valued at $200 from one of our co-sponsors. All right, so we're going to start with the first question. Brittany, I'll hand this to you. If you're not seeing any success on a social media channel, should you stick around and keep trying or move to a different platform, and how long should you wait?
I think it's less about how long you should wait and more about how many attempts. It can take a little bit of experimentation to figure out what works on a social network, especially if you're new to it, or if you're new to the company or the industry or something like that. I would definitely try a few different things, test out a few different strategies, but if you've tried, 3, 4 different completely new strategies and you're not seeing anything, then I don't think you need to stay on there.
Any success on a social media channel, should you stick around and keep trying? Okay, great. Anyone else?
Along those lines, I think it's really great when you first start a new platform to establish metrics of what you kind of want to see, and along those lines, at least when I'm looking to establish a new social channel, give myself a timeline to hit those metrics, whether it's followers, clicks, retweets, whatever. I think establishing where you want to go will help you decide whether or not in a couple months after maybe you've tried a number of different tactics, if you should stay or leave.
I think it's important to also mention that given that social media, it's a free outlet, it's a free way to get in front of customers. Some are going to be more beneficial than others, but there's always some amount of resources you should dedicate to have a social presence on every platform. Because some are going to be more effective, you should dedicate more time and effort on those. But I think there's a lot of testing and ways you can communicate with your customer. By using a little bit of resources just to stay in those social media platforms, I think it's always beneficial.
Deborah, do you have anything to add?
I echo the sentiment of what was said. I think it's important to evaluate your ROI to make sure that what you're doing is making financial sense, and to focus on what you're investing in the outlet, and then if it's not working out, to move on.
Okay, great. So let's go to the second question. So I'm a small business. I've set up a Facebook page and a Twitter account. What should I even post? Where should I start?
I can take that one. So I think that you start with really, if you're focusing on your business, our position is that you want to focus on your brand and talking about what it is that you do, but develop content and interesting information that is beyond just your brand. You're developing a following of people who are interested in what it is that you offer, but you also want to create content that is actually more than just about your product. So I think you kind of add some depth to your business by talking either about traditional customers, about your employees, even your strategies, and then offer more than that. So for our business, we do something that's very mundane, incorporating businesses, but we talk about what do small businesses look like? How do they grow? How do they build focus on ROI? How do they build their social media channels? So we talk more big picture to engage customers in a way that gets them interested in our offer, even if it's not just saying, this is what you need to do to help build our business. So talking to them more broadly is our strategy.
Yeah, over here at Bloom Nation, when we first started, we didn't have a website. We literally started with a Facebook page. So the most important thing for us was how do we get in front of the florists and learn about their problems, how can we create a better product. So for us, it was creating a forum of conversation. So we weren't promoting ourselves, but we were starting conversation around how can we better help this industry? What can we do to make the world better for florists? And for us, that was a big part of how we built our platform and how we continue to engage with our sellers. And so I agree 100%. It's not about promoting yourself, but it's creating a concept behind the lifestyle of the people that you're trying to attract.
Yeah, and then along the same lines, definitely agree with you guys. It's about building relationships. Whether it's one aspect of your business, if it's consumers, or if it's people who haven't heard about your business, I think having the ability and creating the ability to share information that appeals to everyone and gets them to notice your brand.
Behind the lifestyle.
Okay, awesome. So we'll go to our third question. How do you know that social media is working? You've set up your Facebook page, you've set up Twitter, you're posting. How do you know that it's actually started to work?
Whether it's one aspect.
I'll start off this one. I think it depends on the kind of business. When you set up a social channel, you want to set up, what success means to you. For some people, it may translate into purchases in store or new subscribers. I think that you need to define what success means to you first. And then, yeah.
I agree with Brittany. I think every business has a different metric on what their success is, and that kind of defines what your mission of your company is. You really got to evaluate what are you trying to get out of your social media. And for a lot of e-commerce companies, obviously, it's more sales. For some other companies, it might be brand awareness and just general marketing. And so you're not going to have a direct impact on the business, but qualitatively, you're getting in front of people. They're learning about your business. So it just depends. I don't think there's a set metric out there for across the board that you can use for success.
And I agree. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Deborah. I also agree, and I think that there are stages to your success on social media as well. Initially, when you jump in, it's difficult to understand perhaps what metrics are associated with success in terms of your brand. And the longer that you're on social media, the better equipped you become to understand how that relates in ROI to your business and kind of how you can evolve it to help your business. And I think that's kind of in line with what social media is, it's ever evolving. And if you can see that within the past 6 months, you've had a big change in how, let's say, for example, if you started a Twitter account and you see the development of your account over that time period, and it's beneficial for your business, I think that's a really great way of looking and understanding how a social media channel can help your business. So looking at it over a period of time and watching it evolve.
My thought too is that there might be some initiatives that you can set forth that are actually very specific to you tracking success. So for example, our company did a contest and we promoted it on social media, and our goal was to achieve 10,000 shares. So you can be very long-term and open-ended about social media, or you can have a very specific initiative. Ours was we wanted over 500 submissions of 1-minute stories about small businesses, and we wanted people to share that and get the word out about a contest for winning $15,000. So those type of ideas might be more specific and close-ended, and then there also may be a whole long-term strategy associated with that that may be far more open-ended. So I think you may look at both short-term strategies as well as long-term initiatives.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So the next question, which is kind of a little bit broad, but some social media platforms take a lot of work, and small business owners don't necessarily have a lot of time to manage social media all day long. Are there any platforms that you consider to be less maintenance than others?
So those type of ideas might be more specific and close-ended.
I'll jump in on that one. So I think generally it has to be part of your daily business. It can't be something that if it's a chore for you, then you're not doing it right. So, and I don't think any one is particularly easier than the other. They all have different angles and they have their benefits and costs. But ultimately, I think you have to make the same amount of effort, whatever the platform is. It shouldn't matter.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, echoing that. I think every platform takes its own time, whether it's building content or pushing the content out. You just kind of have to pick and choose what works best for your company.
I was going to say similar, that spreading yourself sometimes too thin can yield too little engagement on any one platform. So focusing on those that you can actually focus on, or as was previously mentioned, that's actually part of your day in and day out, whether it's writing content for your blog or Facebook updates. It being more deep, I think, is what might make a difference for a small business owner who has already spread too thin than just trying to blanket the social media markets in every single avenue. I think really diving into those that you can stay with and nurture is important.
And I think that, making it a routine and building it into your schedule and coming up with a system that works for you is important. I've heard of other people's routines where, for example, they may schedule posts for half an hour in the morning, and then for half an hour in the afternoon, they'll go and respond to customers and stuff like that, and that's their everyday routine. And so then it just kind of becomes weird when you don't do it.
And also, there's a lot of tools out there that can kind of help cut time down, and I'm sure we all have our secrets to success in terms of what we use for social posts. But if that's something, if you're concerned about time, I think looking into what apps or plugins that you can add to your web browser that can cut time on either posting or scheduling.
Awesome, those are some really great points. So back to a little bit of content. How much should I post about my business versus posting about other people's stuff? Because obviously I want people to come and do business with me and buy my stuff, but I know that I shouldn't be talking about myself all the time. So how much should I post about other people's things as opposed to my things?
In terms of what we use for social posts.
I think it's more of an art than a science. Ideally, what you want to do is create a perfect balance, which is not always easy, but the goal is to make your content feel authentic and not promoted. I think Red Bull does an awesome job at this. I mean, they have, a massive amount of production work that doesn't even show the logo or doesn't even show the can of Red Bull in any of their promotions. And so they've created a connection to the lifestyle of extreme sports without even promoting their product necessarily. And so I think that's a perfect case study of how you should be thinking about your brand, is how do you connect yourself with a lifestyle and then have your brand associated with that lifestyle without anyone thinking that you're promoting it directly.
I also think a really good way to engage with other brands is we focus on, for example, we call it cross-blogging or cross-promoting, where we ask for others who are in a similar industry or talk to small business owners as we do to guest blog on our site, and then conversely we're given an opportunity to guest blog on their site. And so while we're not self-promoting on our own site for that instance, we are given an opportunity to promote ourselves on someone else's site. So it's an opportunity to demonstrate other products and services that may be of interest to our consumer base, and then to enable us to do the same to a consumer base of a partner. And then we go a little bit deeper by then promoting it on Twitter and Facebook and other outlets, Google Plus, so that then we are not just doing a blog, but we're going deeper into the broader social media realm.
I think it also, oh, go ahead, Lauren.
Oh, no, go for it, Brittany.
Oh, okay. I think it also depends on how you talk about your product. There are definitely brands on social media that are really successful, and they mention one of their products or something like that in every post, but they don't do it in a way that's trying to sell to you or push you into anything, and it's just all about like helping and entertaining, and I think you can get away with a little bit more product mentioning if you take that approach.
Yeah, and we here at HomeAdvisor too. I also try to really listen to what our community's feedback is, whether it's subtle or loud. I think initially we started posting a lot of stuff that did have links back to our site or were very branded, and I found that you can, as you hone those back and push out content that, like Deborah mentioned, maybe cross promotes your brand or something that's along the lines with the industry that you live in. You kind of, I think, you find that happy medium, you find that equilibrium, because you'll see engagement rise, you'll see people interact and retweet more, and once you hit that equilibrium, it's I think that you'll see engagement and you'll know that you're where you should be in terms of your stuff, your promotional stuff, and other people's content.
I think one other thing I'd like to add was, I think people are very easy to sniff out like unauthentic content. It's really important to become an authority in your industry, and so that's why it's important to talk about not just about your brand, about a lot of the other things. In our blog, on the Bloom Nation blog, we focus a lot on just general like floral design, trending stuff in fashion. We don't just focus on promoting Bloom Nation, but how do we talk about floral trends and fashion in a way that makes Bloom Nation associated with those things. So when someone's reading our blog, they're like, wow, Bloom Nation is such a cool, trendy brand, without us saying, hey, we're cool and trendy. So I think by knowing about our industry, about talking about our industry, becoming that authority is very powerful.
And I think weaving in, not to go back on the same topic, but I think weaving in seasonality is important, and like was just presented, when you can kind of connect pieces that people may be experiencing in their everyday life, whether it's holidays or for us it's the new year and people are starting new businesses, we weave in end of year, beginning of new year, starting business, all of those things into our topics and posts. So while we're not specifically saying incorporate your business with our company, we're saying now's the time when people are doing it, and here's what it looks like. And so then very much like when you're talking about anything that relates to what people are experiencing in their regular lives, then you can relate it back to your product or service.
Yeah, and along those same lines, we also try to work with bloggers for a blog ambassador program, finding kind of influencers in the space who I think can say that you're cool without you having to say it yourself. Finding people who can share your business for you in the space of social media or on their blog is also a great outreach program for getting your content out there, but really in a genuine way.
Cool. Okay. So along those lines, what are some common mistakes that you see small business owners making, and how can they avoid these mistakes?
Finding kind of influencers in the space who I'll jump in there. I think what I see really commonly is people trying to do every social media platform out there all at once and really struggling to grow on all of them and not being deliberate when you're first starting social media. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes out there.
I think another one is when business owners tend to talk about themselves, or they're thinking that they're promoting their own brand, which is unique from the business brand. So I think you have to identify what your goals are. Are you trying to build yourself, for example, as an expert blogger or an expert in the field as an individual, or are you focused on building your business and your brand, which may coincide with building yourself as an expert? But sometimes I think that people end up talking about, we talk internally in our team about people, for example, who talk about their vacation and get a little too personal on the outlets rather than keeping it business and staying focused on what the business initiatives are.
Another thing that kind of piggybacks off of talking about yourself too much is talking about your business too much. People don't go on social networks to be sold to. They're looking for information, or they're just trying to kill time and, be entertained. I think that a lot of companies they can use social media with another form of push advertising.
I think the biggest problem is that they don't do it at all, or they don't do it enough. So before even getting to that point where you're analyzing and trying to figure out how to do social media, a lot of people need to realize that they first and foremost need to set up these pages. They need to set up a Facebook page, Pinterest page, even like Yelp. These things, a lot of businesses don't have these, and they haven't embraced them yet. And just getting that out there in the first place is probably the first and most important thing you got to do. And then from there, learning, what area is working, what area is not working. But it's surprising how many small businesses don't do it at all. So that's how I feel. It's like that's the biggest problem.
Okay, awesome. So our next question, what frustrations do small business owners encounter when they're trying to make social media work?
Set up a Facebook Pinterest page, even like Yelp, these things.
I think it's really easy to be discouraged when your network doesn't end up growing as fast as you thought it would. I know that I've felt that before. When you look at what you're putting out and you say, oh, hey, this stuff is so great, I think it's great, I worked really hard on this, why doesn't anyone react?
I think also learning to measure your return on investment for those who aren't handling social in your company is a really big hurdle to get past when you're initially starting. Your network doesn't end up growing as fast as you thought it would. I know that I've felt that before.
Okay, anyone else have anything to say about that question?
You're putting out and you say, oh, hey, this stuff is so great, I think it's great, I worked really hard on this.
All right, so next question. Can any of you recommend any niche social media platforms that might be helpful for everyday businesses? So maybe not necessarily Facebook or Twitter, maybe something else that you've seen that works.
Your return on investment for those?
I'll jump in here. I think, I don't know how everything kind of becomes is so quickly coming along, but Instagram is obviously something that's becoming bigger and bigger. I think that's a great place, and to me it is one of the lower maintenance type of social media because it's just photographs. There's not a lot of content that you can necessarily add, but it's a way to show and talk about your brand or the lifestyle around your brand in photographs, and it's gotten a lot of engagement. A lot of businesses thrive through Instagram. With that said, I think you have to focus on, is that your core demographic? And for example, like Bloom Nation, we have a social media content manager over at Bloom Nation, Katie, who runs our Instagram, and she's able, because flowers are so beautiful and visual, it works perfectly. So we can submit amazing pictures of floral designs, whereas if you're selling dental insurance, it's not necessarily the best place to show a picture of people getting like a root canal. But it really depends on your brand, but I think it's an opportunity to capture this whole new audience.
Yeah, I think that with niche social networks, like just stated, you have to find really where your audience is. Something that has worked for us here at Home Advisor, because we live in like the home improvement and renovation space, is connecting with people actually on Google Plus communities, which if I mean, we're all on Google Plus since we're here on a Hangout, but if you're not, it's surprising how many people are actually in these communities and participate. And we've made a couple of valuable connections through those. And there's definitely communities for every industry out there. I would suggest looking for something that is applicable to your business.
I think if you're looking to establish yourself as an expert for something or do some thought leadership, a really good idea would be to look into Quora, or I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but Quora, the question and answer site. You don't even have to come up with the topics yourself. You just see what is being asked and you put your thoughts out there.
We also do something that's probably a lot of people do, but new business owners might not know much about, and it's called HARO for short, Help a Reporter Out. And actually in the vein of developing an expert mindset, or that you are an expert in certain areas, we respond to queries looking for feedback from people in different industries. And so it's a great way to build external outlets and to get them linking back to you, and then to also build partnerships and opportunities, because our experience is that when we've helped a reporter out, they then want to write about our business and they want to talk about what we're doing. Then we're able to promote that via Twitter, social media outlets, Facebook, etc. So we're promoting an article where inherently we are discussed, but the article is definitely a topic that may not be specifically about our business. So it's a great way for us to get the word out about our business without saying anything about ourselves. We're actually giving feedback to a reporter who's interested in writing a story. And they can range, I mean, from anywhere from being an expert to talking about what small businesses do at a certain time to talking about being a business owner and how you hire and fire. So there's a lot of areas where you can weigh in on to become experts about small business or your industry that may be beyond what you might traditionally write about in social media.
Awesome. Okay, so next question. This is a personal example from each of you. Give an example of a tool that you personally use for social media and describe exactly how you would use it. So how would this particular tool make your life easier when you're using social?
Anywhere from being an expert to talking about what small businesses do at a certain time.
I'm a big fan of Tweet. We use it for a lot of different things within our company, but my involvement is a lot of searching for conversations for our company to respond to. Anything from keywords to different hashtags. We also set up searches for all of our content, whether it's on our own website or one of the sites that our blogs get syndicated to or something like that. And that's a great way to find everyone sharing our writing, and we can individually thank each person.
Tool for me that has really streamlined how I've done social media is Buffer app, and it's a plugin that you install into your window, whether it's Chrome or whatnot. And then they also have an app available on desktop, but you can, go into Twitter and store a retweet to be shared later, and you can use it for your Google Plus and LinkedIn. I just love it because I can use it across the social media platforms where I'm really trying to heavily push out content. And also in that same vein, I just want to mention this program called Latergram, which has saved my life when it comes to Instagram. I am able to schedule my Instagram post for the entire month at the same time, and that has just made my life a million times easier. Go into Twitter and store a retweet.
Actually, that Latergram is a great app, so I second that. And we also use Repost. So Katie, our Instagram guru at Bloom Nation, she's always looking at people that are talking about our brand. So if there's a hashtag Bloom Nation, she's able to use the Repost app to repost that that Instagram picture in a proper format, so that it also not only gives credit to the original content provider, but it allows our users to see that other people are talking about Bloom Nation. So I think there's a dual benefit there. So we love using both those apps.
From our perspective, something that's super simple but easy to do, and maybe easy for small business owners who are just new to, for example, Facebook, is the Facebook Boost. which boosts your posts and maybe gives a bit more visibility. And you can literally spend $5 or $50 and try and test kind of what the engagement looks like. So a really simple execution of looking at a Facebook post that may have been particularly positive about your business or something you want to really focus on and doing a boost on it is a super simple, click a button, done.
And there's one other thing, I don't know if it's a tool or an app, but and most of you I'm sure already use it, but there's a way to integrate your Facebook and Twitter. So if you're posting something on Facebook, it automatically posts on Twitter. That cuts out a lot of time to have to do it on both or one or the other. So, but I don't believe it's an app. I think it's just an integration. But that's also a huge help to a lot of small businesses that don't want to kind of manage both.
There's also an app called IFTTT. IFTTT. It stands for if this and that. And that kind of just lets you automate a lot of different stuff. And so you can cross-post to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, a Google Plus page, all from one social post, and it will just, make the networks all to each other.
Awesome. Those are a lot of good recommendations. So our next question is, should you ever outsource your social media? I know this is a hot topic among a lot of community managers, but if you think it's okay to outsource your social media, how should you do it? Should you use an agency? Should you use a freelancer? What's your recommendation?
I'll say I personally believe it should be the last thing you try to do is outsource. It's so important. Again, touching back on authenticity and becoming an authority, by outsourcing it, you're already going down the wrong path. It's something that needs to come from within the company. It's who you are, what's your values, what's your mission, who's your voice. And if that's coming from someone who's remotely working, they're not going to pick up on all the little things, and it makes a big difference. I think people are really smart and they pick up on this. You need to come from a good place and a very authentic a place, whereas if you hire someone to outsource, I don't think you're going to get that. Now, if you have to, I would say I would not use an agency. I would use a freelancer. As much as you can, get it to be an individual person that you can connect with, and it's not some company or corporate identity that is passing it on to different people. You want to keep consistent in the way that you're speaking to your audience, and that's really important. So I would say, as much as you can, do not outsource it anyway, but if you have to, I would use a freelancer that you're consistently using the same freelancer.
I agree wholeheartedly. I love the word authenticity because I think that that's what builds your interest from your consumers and ultimately your business. So I think it is important. Again, I agree too. The one thing you could outsource maybe would be for us an article or two that may be written, or a guest blogger, so you build your content and interest from that rather than necessarily an agency or something that would be less authentic. I love the word. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's what people engage with your business about, is feeling like they know who you are and what it is you do. I feel honestly, even if you have to, having people, other members of your team who may not be traditional writers, add some content or add some feedback or add some photos or videos that may actually be helpful to show even more authenticity to your business.
All right. Anyone else say about outsourcing?
Less authentic. I love the word.
Okay. Give an example of how you use social media to grow your brand or make money. Because that's definitely, for an entrepreneur, that's something that is, make or break for them for social media. So can you give us an example of how you've done one of those two things?
I could jump in on that one. So for us, and I was speaking to this earlier, Facebook was an opportunity for us to engage with all our florists. So we use Facebook as a direct line of communication with our floral designers. We get them interested in our product. We show them the benefits. We try to loop in consumers, but right now I'd say majority of our Facebook followers are florists and the designers, and so for us it's an opportunity to get more sellers on our platform. With Instagram, we use it as a consumer-facing platform, so we're posting more and with a voice to the consumer. So we use each social platform in different ways with different audiences, and I think that caters to what we feel like the demographic of the social platform is. I think, like things like Snapchat are a younger demographic. There's Instagram that, has a certain demographic. For us, we leverage Facebook for our florists. We feel like it fits that demographic perfectly. And so we use it as a way to get our brand on the supply side, on the seller side out there. And that's helped us tremendously boost our amount of sellers. In fact, before we even launched Blumination.com, I think we had almost 1,000 signups to Blumination as sellers. Florists were signing up before we had a website. And that was all through Facebook. So it made a big impact to get our business up and running, because in a marketplace, you need to have sellers before you can have buyers. So it was tremendously helpful. And we really couldn't have started our business without Facebook. It allowed not only the florists to realize what we're doing and join our platform, but it also gave them a sense of, I know how to upload photos, I know how to create a profile, and we kind of mimic that on Blumination for a seller to be able to create a profile, upload photos, and so it gave them the courage and the ability to feel like they can do this. So Facebook was probably the spark that got Blumination going.
We actually see quite a bit of
via video and also engaging with a conversation on video and Facebook are really important. One thing I think I mentioned earlier, but that we did with doing a Facebook contest where we offered, if they gave us a short video discussing their business, that we would enter them into a contest to win a prize. And we saw a lot of fantastic videos submitted. So that gave us both content for YouTube with our videos, and then an independent. Some of the people were customers and talked about how they used our service, and some were just talking about how they started a business and they were successful, and some even said, this is why I need the money to win this prize. But so all sorts of different messages came together, and it was promoted both from the video perspective and also on Facebook for them to then promote those videos to their friends to gain votes to then hopefully win the contest. So it was a great opportunity to use that dual video messaging with Facebook and combine those two for some great success from our perspective.
We've had most of our success from Twitter, especially we're a B2B company, go to a lot of trade shows and events. We get a lot of foot traffic to our booths at trade shows and stuff, just by being really active on social media with other attendees.
We're coming to the last of our questions, so after this question we'll start answering some audience questions. So our last question is, does social media help your SEO at all? We're always talking about, Google rankings and how to get found in Google and, what does Google do? So if you have a strong social media presence, is this going to help you in Google rankings?
Absolutely. I don't know about you guys, but our first page of results, I would say half, if not more, are all our social channels. A big reason why we put a lot of emphasis in Google Plus is because of SEO. We've really found that that's helped us tremendously with our business. I don't know the exact term for it, but when you're in search and you look up a business, on the upper right-hand side, sometimes a Wikipedia page and a logo pops up. That is purely because of a Google Plus presence. And for us, the two are pretty integrated. And social benefits SEO and SEO benefits social. We see them as very similar.
I think to layer on that, not only social and SEO, but also SEM has helped. So when your rankings are high all across the board, you come up high on paid search and natural search, and you have some strong social channels. All of them interact to increase the opportunity of your customer seeing you, of your customer receiving positive feedback about you. Also, I think things like Yelp and those type of ranking sites have been very helpful in the sense that we solicit feedback from our customers. So not only is it an opportunity for us to hopefully have positive feedback, but also to learn from opportunities and to communicate if we've ever done something wrong that has yielded some sort of bad review. So I think those are all opportunities not only just to increase visibility on the search rankings, but also to grow as a company and continue to improve.
And just
Definitely,
go ahead.
thanks. Like both Deborah and Lauren said, you know, if you Google a business, their social profiles are going to come up on the first page most likely. But also, if you have a blog and you're sharing the posts on social media, if other people are sharing them, that all brings traffic back to your site. And traffic, a good amount of traffic, tells Google that it's a valuable web page to show, and that can improve your rankings as well.
Yeah, I was just going to quickly say that just to give everyone that's listening a background, that Google obviously, as they get more advanced and trying to figure out ways to better understand what's the most relevant content to push out, social media becomes important for Google to understand who's engaged with your brand. Are you more important than the second result or third result? And this is an additional layer for them to evaluate that. So it's definitely important to have that part of your SEO plan.
Yeah, just taking back off that, I always explain SEO and social media as breadcrumbs that you're leaving across the internet for Google to follow. So that's kind of how we look at it.
I like that analogy. Use that.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to start taking some questions from the audience. So we have about 15 minutes left. If you haven't gotten your question in, you can tweet us at Grasshopper with the hashtag FRSDchat, or you can use the chat box that's right on the bottom of the page. So our first question is from Alice Lee. She said, I run a small nonprofit that raises money for specific projects in a village in Uganda. We usually have a dinner events that honor wonderful people and raise money. We would like to use social media for effective online fundraising. We would appreciate any advice that you have on how to proceed.
Yeah, I've never dealt with fundraising online, so I don't necessarily have an answer. However, I would just, using social media, utilize your relationships that you have on social to help spread the word for your fundraiser.
One thing that I think helps a lot, and we kind of play with here over at Bloom Nation, is we like to get our community of fans and followers to know a little bit more about us. And so we give them updates on how internally the company is doing. If we added a team member or it's someone's birthday, I think just feeling connected to the brand, not only the brand as a business, but the people behind it. And so in a nonprofit, I think that's a big play for you to tap into, what you guys are doing, who you're helping, who are the people that are making all this effort to make the lives of others better. And I think that will help, push your social media efforts a lot farther. Is just to be very transparent and open about, the people behind all the hard work and behind the nonprofit itself.
I agree wholeheartedly, and I also think you're sending your message out. You're wanting to make sure that people understand what they're donating to. So I think also discussing in earnest the beneficiaries of this opportunity or donation as you try to build this. So I think that it's sort of telling the story, and that in and of itself will help from a social media standpoint.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of research in this area, experience in this area. I think that social media would be a great way to rally supporters. Like maybe if you're close to hitting a certain fundraising goal, if you post about that, that will get everyone really excited to meet that goal. Might get a lot of engagement and maybe some financial support from that brainstorming.
Okay, so let's take the next question. This is from Kathy at Back to Basic Wellness. She said, LinkedIn sends me the names of people who have been to my page. What's the best way to follow through with that information?
I would say that for starters, it would be an opportunity to see who is engaging with your brand and your company. So if you can extract any information out of that and use that to kind of build your persona of who's your customer, that would be a start before even thinking about how do I approach this person or how do I engage with these people, is just to understand who are these people and how is this representative of all the people that are coming to my site or engaging with my brand. I would use that as an initial start, and then kind of as that grows and as that builds, then say, okay, now how do I create a strategy around targeting those people or speaking to those people or having a voice that caters to them. Who's your customer? That would be a start before you.
Okay, I guess we'll take the next question. The next question should be an easy one. I just started posting to our business Facebook and Twitter, but I'm confused as to how best to use them in the most beneficial way. Do I post the same things on both? Do I post different things in each one? Do I focus on a certain on one medium and another on the other? Help.
Wow. I think it really depends on your business, or like if it's personal business or if you're posting for a company, really identifying what your customer needs are on each platform. I know here at HomeAdvisor, we actually post similar content, but definitely with a little bit of a different tone on different platforms. So Facebook is engagement, traffic, A or B. Do you like A or B? What do you guys think of this? Whereas Twitter is more like we've talked about, sharing information and content, positioning ourselves as an influencer in our particular space. I personally am not a big fan of mixing Facebook and Twitter, since I think that they both serve a different purpose. However, I would just advise take step one, identify what your customers are on each platform and and then look at what tone of voice you want to use for that, which is, again, really dependent upon what business you're in.
I second what Lauren is saying. I think ideally the best case scenario is that you are speaking to each social platform differently and catering to the demographic that applies to that social platform. So, Twitter is a certain type of people. You only, you're more focused around like the copy. Instagram is more focused around the image. So you have to make sure that you're doing it in a way that's engaging to each platform, because if you do it across the board the same exact way, it's not going to be as effective. But again, some people don't have the time, and I think it's better to do, if you're going to ignore it completely, it's better to just do it consistent. And then if you have time, make it cater to each platform. But I wouldn't let go of the opportunity to at least cross-promote and use the same content across all platforms.
I was going to add too that sometimes small business owners have a hard time just grappling with it in general. So if you feel like you're taking on too much, to use, for example, the plugin that allows you to post to Facebook but also Twitter. And I agree wholeheartedly that you have different messaging and different communication if all things were perfect, but sometimes small business owners have a hard time just getting their arms around social media in general. So if you're trying to evaluate your messaging and put out two different messages, it can get confusing at times. So if you're going to get started, it's better to get started and send out similar messaging, use the plugin to the extent that you can, and don't feel the need to be everywhere all the time. You can start gradually and learn and then build up, because my experience, at least the feedback has been from customers who use our incorporation services, they're trying to get started, they just want to get started with something, and I feel like if they try too much at once, it ends up yielding nothing versus putting your eggs in a basket that they can carry and moving forward with one piece at a time.
I like to say whenever this topic comes up.
Okay, awesome. I think we have time for one last question, and this is really a good one, so I wanted to ask it. David asked, are there any books that anyone on the panel could recommend as a step-by-step approach to tackling social media as a new business?
I think that's a great question. It's been a while since I've personally dove into looking at books, but there are a ton of newsletters available that you could sign up for. I think Social Media Examiner is a great place to start. For me, it's been extremely helpful. They post daily content that ranges from beginner steps to experts. They have a wonderful network of people who they have who I blog for them and create these articles. I would suggest starting there.
I think it's talking about,
One thing I'll add is that, outside of reading a particular book or a newsletter, you can also follow some of the brands that you really, see them as a successful social media outlet or a great brand. You can see what they're doing in the real world and see what's working. And I think that's what at Bloom Nation we spend a lot of time looking at other companies and how they're doing things that are really cutting edge and new, and that won't even be caught in a book or a blog or a newsletter, is seeing what people are doing today. I think that will help a lot in creating a guideline for you and you can see real life use of. You can see if this is working, this is not working, and it really helps you understand, in real time what's the current trends that are happening.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, everyone. That's about all the time that we have for today. So I'm just going to do a quick wrap up. I appreciate everyone coming out and watching our fireside chat. I want to thank our panelists, Lauren, Farbod, Deborah, and Brittany. You guys were great. Just a reminder to everyone, please take the survey. That the purple button right below this video is where you can click to be taken to the survey. And don't forget, you will be entered to win one of 3 social media brainstorming sessions from one of our sponsors. And in case you missed any part of the chat or you just want to refer back, we will be compiling a summary of the video as well as all of the tweets that have gone out. And any of the questions that you have submitted that didn't get an answer, we'll be asking the panelists to answer those as well, so those will be emailed out as well to anyone that RSVP'd. So keep an eye out for that in your inbox in the next couple weeks. And that's all we have for today. So thanks, everybody. Just a reminder to everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.